Have you ever met someone who looked completely normal? Nice smile, friendly voice, everybody seemed to love them. Then somehow, after spending just a few minutes with them, you walked away feeling like somebody secretly unplugged your energy. You weren't sick. Nothing bad even happened. But suddenly you're tired, confused, and thinking, why do I feel so heavy after talking to this person? Now here's the crazy part. Some people can walk into a room and make everyone feel comfortable. Others walk into the room, and somehow the mood changes instantly. It's almost like happiness quietly packs its bags and leaves. Have you ever noticed that? If you have, today's video is for you. Today we're talking about 5 signs you might be dealing with what many people call a human demon. Not a real demon with horns and fire. I'm talking about the kind of person who slowly steals your peace, twists your emotions, and somehow leaves you questioning yourself while they walk away smiling. Carl Jung believed every person has a hidden side, the shadow. It's the part of ourselves that holds fear, anger, jealousy, pride, and all the things we usually don't want to admit are there. Most people spend their lives trying to understand that shadow and keep it under control. But some people, they let it run the show. And when that happens, they don't just hurt themselves. They leave a trail of exhausted people behind them. Now, before we jump in, I want you to do something. Think about someone you've met who always left you feeling drained. Don't type their name. We're not trying to start a family reunion in the comment section. Just keep that person in your mind while we go through these 5 signs. By the end of this video, you might finally understand why being around them always felt so strange. And who knows, you might even save yourself from your next headache. All right? Let's get into sign number 1. Sign 1. They make everything about themselves all right. Here's the first sign. Every single conversation somehow becomes about them. Now we all know someone like this. You call them because you're excited. You finally got that new job. You lost some weight. Your child graduated. Your business is doing well. Before you can even finish your sentence, they jump in. Oh, that's nothing. Let me tell you what happened to me. And just like that, your story disappears. Suddenly you're sitting there listening to a story you never asked for. It's almost impressive. You could say, I found $1 on the ground. And somehow they'll reply, that reminds me of the time I found $100. Really? How did we get here? Carl Jung believed that when people refuse to understand their own inner world, they often become trapped inside their own ego. Instead of seeing other people, they only see mirrors. Everything is about how life affects them, how people treat them, how they feel, how they look, how they win, how they suffer. It's like every conversation has only one main character, and somehow it's always them. Now don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with talking about yourself sometimes. We're all guilty of it. But healthy people know when to stop and ask, so, how are you doing? That's a simple question. But it says a lot. It tells you they're interested in you, not just waiting for their turn to speak. Here's a funny little test. Next time you're talking to someone, tell them something exciting about your life. Then stay quiet. See what happens. Do they ask another question? Do they celebrate with you? Or do they immediately grab the conversation and drive it back to themselves like they just stole the steering wheel? You'll be surprised how much you learn. I remember a guy I knew years ago. You could ask him what time it was. And somehow, 10 minutes later, you'd know his entire life story, his favorite football team, what he had for breakfast, and why his neighbor annoyed him last Tuesday. Meanwhile, you still didn't know what time it was. Some people don't have conversations. They host one-person podcasts, and you're the audience. Now here's the part most people miss. At first, these people can seem very confident, funny, charming, interesting, because they always have something to say. But after spending enough time with them, you start feeling invisible. You realize they know almost nothing about your life. They don't remember what matters to you. They forget important things you shared. Not because they have a bad memory, but because they were never really listening. They were waiting for their next story, waiting for the spotlight to come back. Real friendships don't work like that. A good conversation is like playing catch. You throw the ball, they catch it, then they throw it back. Nice and easy. Now imagine playing catch with someone who catches the ball, puts it in their pocket, and walks away. That's exactly what some conversations feel like. So ask yourself this. When you're with this person, do you feel heard, or do you feel like background music? Because there's a big difference. People who truly care about you make room for your voice. People who only care about themselves make sure theirs is the only one anyone hears. And here's something I'd love to know. Have you ever met someone who could turn every single conversation back to themselves? If you have, just type, "I've met one." No names. Let's keep the comment section peaceful today, because sign number 2. This is where things get much sneakier. These people don't just make everything about themselves. They have a way of making you feel like you're the problem, even when you've done absolutely nothing wrong. And trust me, once you notice this sign, you'll never unsee it. Sign 2. They make you question yourself. Now this next sign is one of the biggest reasons people stay around toxic people for so long, because these people don't always attack you directly. Sometimes they do something much more confusing. They make you doubt yourself. Have you ever walked away from a conversation and thought, "Wait, what just happened?" You went into the conversation feeling confident. You knew what happened. You knew what you felt. But somehow, after talking to that person, you're sitting there replaying everything in your mind like you're trying to solve a mystery. Did I overreact? Did I misunderstand? Was I actually the problem? That feeling is a huge warning sign. Healthy people can disagree with you. They can have a different opinion, but they don't make you feel crazy for having your own feelings. A toxic person, however, often tries to rewrite the story. You say, "That hurt my feelings." They say, "You're too sensitive." You say, "I felt ignored." They say, "You're imagining things." You explain your experience. And somehow, 5 minutes later, you're apologizing. You came to talk about what they did, and you leave saying sorry for bringing it up. That is a very confusing place to be. Carl Jung talked a lot about self-awareness, knowing yourself, understanding your emotions, because when you know yourself deeply, it's harder for someone else to control your reality. A person who understands their own mind is not easily pulled into someone else's chaos. And here's something important. Not every disagreement means someone is toxic. We all have bad days. We all misunderstand people sometimes. The difference is this. A healthy person can say, "You know what? Maybe I was wrong." A toxic person says, "No, somehow this is your fault." They never look in the mirror. And if they do, they probably blame the mirror, because apparently even the mirror is against them. The most powerful thing you can do is trust your own experiences. If you constantly feel confused, drained, guilty, or smaller after being around someone, pay attention. Your emotions are giving you information. Sign 3. They wear a perfect mask. Now this one is interesting because some of the most difficult people to recognize are not the obvious ones. They're the ones everyone loves. They are charming, funny, helpful. They know exactly what to say. Everyone around them says, "They're such a nice person." And you stand there thinking, "Really?" Because your experience feels completely different. This is why appearances can be dangerous. A person can look amazing on the outside and still have unhealthy behavior underneath. Think about a beautiful house, fresh paint, beautiful garden, Everything looks perfect, but nobody checks the foundation. Then one day, you notice cracks. People are the same. The outside is not always the whole story. Some people are experts at showing the world their best side. But behind closed doors, they treat people completely differently. They are kind when people are watching, but careless when nobody is around. They want admiration. They want attention. They want everyone to think they're the hero. But real character is not how someone acts when the whole world is looking. Real character is how they act when nobody can give them anything back. Pay attention to how someone treats waiters, how they talk about people who are not in the room, how they act when they don't get their way. Small moments reveal big truths. Sign 4. They drain your energy. Have you ever noticed that your body sometimes knows something before your mind does? You see someone's name pop up on your phone, and immediately you feel tired. Not because they said anything, not because they did anything yet, but something inside you says, "Here we go again." That's your experience talking. Some people bring peace, some people bring pressure. After spending time with a good person, you usually feel lighter. You feel encouraged. You feel like yourself. But after spending time with someone who constantly criticizes, manipulates, complains, or creates drama, you feel exhausted. It's like your emotional battery went from 80% to 5%. And you didn't even do anything. You were just sitting there. Some people don't need a gym membership. Being around them is the workout. But here's the important part. Protecting your peace doesn't mean you hate people. It means you understand your limits. You can care about someone and still create distance. You can wish someone well and still choose not to stand in their storm. A person drowning cannot always save another person drowning. Sometimes you have to get yourself to shore first. Sign 5. They never take responsibility. And finally, the biggest sign. They never believe they are wrong. Ever. The weather is wrong. The traffic is wrong. Their boss is wrong. Their friends are wrong. Their family is wrong. Everyone is wrong. Except them. Now, we all make mistakes. That's part of being human. The strongest people are not people who never fail. The strongest people are people who can say, "I made a mistake. I need to do better. I hurt someone." That takes strength. But someone who refuses responsibility stays trapped. Because if you never admit the problem, you can never fix it. Carl Jung believed that growth comes from facing the parts of ourselves we don't want to see. The shadow, the uncomfortable truth, the hidden weaknesses. But some people spend their whole lives running away from that mirror, and unfortunately, they sometimes make other people pay the price. So let's quickly remember the 5 signs. Number 1, they make everything about themselves. Number 2, they make you question yourself. Number 3, they wear a perfect mask. Number 4, they drain your energy. Number 5, they never take responsibility. Now remember, the goal of this video is not to make you suspicious of everyone. Not everyone who annoys you is toxic. Not everyone who makes mistakes is a bad person. We are all human. We all have flaws. The real question is, does this person bring out the best in me, or do I constantly lose myself around them? Because your peace matters. Your energy matters. Your mental health matters. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is create a little distance. Not because you hate someone, but because you finally decided to respect yourself. Now I want to hear from you. Which sign stood out the most? Was it the person who makes everything about themselves? The person who makes you doubt yourself? Or the person who never admits they're wrong? Share your thoughts in the comments. I always love reading your stories because someone watching this video today might be going through the same thing, and your comment could help them feel less alone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe. Here we talk about psychology, human behavior, self-awareness, and the hidden patterns that shape our lives. Until next time, take care of your mind, protect your peace, and never forget. Understanding people starts with understanding yourself.